This video is sponsored by Black Forest Supplements. Without Harry Potter, and therefore without J.K. Rowling, Emma Watson would be nothing. Case in point, she has not been in a big movie for 6 years. Let's not beat around the bush. Outside of Harry Potter, her biggest claim to fame is having endorsed an oil for female pubic hair. And even that endorsement wouldn't have mattered were it not for her association with Harry Potter. What she has done, though, is take on the role of an activist, and she took that on with great vigor. So much so that she spent years delivering snide remarks against J.K. Rowling, as they disagree on a matter I have to be careful about discussing too much in depth at this platform, but which sometimes involves interventions which will irreversibly affect the health of kids who aren't old enough to legally drink beer. And now, when Emma Watson has reached the ripe old age of 35 and no longer needs to be treated with kid gloves, Rowling finally struck back, and it was glorious. We're about to see why, and the responses to Rowling's words, but first, and on the topic of health, let's take a moment to talk about stem cells, the repair crews in your body that fix whatever needs fixing, and Joe Rogan has been ahead of the curve on this for years. Just watch.
I had a full-length rotator cuff tear, and the UFC gave me a doctor in Los Angeles, and he looks at my MRI and goes, "You're going to need surgery." I go, 100%? He goes, "I don't know how you're using it now. It's a matter of time. You're going to need surgery, so it might be better to do it now." So I got it shot up with stem cells. And this was the early days of stem cells in America where you could get away with more. That you got to go to Mexico now again.
As awesome as that sounds, most stem cell therapies are illegal in the US. Just consider what would happen to Big Pharma and their profits if you could heal your knees, fix your back, or recover from surgery without bills, insurance, or endless doctor visits. It's been suggested that that just might have something to do with the FDA having blocked these treatments, thus forcing people to go overseas, where just one placenta stem cell injection could set you back by $50,000. Good news is, there's a natural way to support your own stem cell activity in the guise of high flavanol cocoa. Harvard scientist Dr. William Lee explains it here.
So, studies have been done to show that the flavanols in cocoa stimulate stem cells to come out of your bone marrow like bees in a beehive in your bloodstream, and they go out and they find wherever it needs to be repaired. If it's in your heart, they'll fix it. If it's in your liver, they'll fix it. If it's in your skin, they'll fix it.
While flavanols are the good stuff found in cocoa beans, they're usually destroyed during the chocolate-making process. That's where Black Forest Supplements come in. They've created the first ever high flavanol cocoa powder, packed with everything your body actually needs, and it's only 20 calories. You can even mix it in your coffee or your protein shake. If you are experiencing significant aging, slow recovery, weak immunity, or you're just feeling off, then blame your lazy stem cells. But cocoa flavanols can activate them, like Fountain of Youth in a scoop. Go to my link in the description or pinned comment down below, where for the next 48 hours you can buy one, get one for free. That's only for the next 48 hours though, so act now. With that, let's get back to J.K. Rowling finally snapping back. Make no mistake about it, J.K. Rowling is a feminist, and a very, very woke one at that. Do not expect her to protest any race bending in the upcoming Harry Potter TV series, and if you are of a conservative bent, then don't expect her to agree with you on most issues. She is, however, a feminist of the kind that can answer the question, what is a woman, in a scientifically correct way without referring to how one feels. And that has put her in the crosshairs of the suffragettes of a certain dysphoric mental condition, as well as the allies of the afflicted, and Emma Watson is one such ally, and so are some of the other Harry Potter cast members. Considering that the previous US administration felt that this particular issue was the most important social cause of our time, there was significant political weight behind it, and perhaps Emma Watson and some of her fellow Harry Potter cast members felt extra pressure to signal their virtue and allegiance to the cause by distancing themselves from Rowling and attack her non-stop because of their association with Harry Potter. Whatever the reason, they added to the many, many voices who wanted to see Rowling cancelled for the high crime of being a feminist that wasn't sufficiently inclusive, let's say. And however inadvertently it may have been, they also added weight to the completely false and manufactured narrative that Rowling wants to see the, shall we say, afflicted removed from existence. A narrative that is not only flat out wrong, but potentially dangerous to Rowling and her family. And yet few added weight to that narrative with the vigor of Emma Watson. Consider Ricky Gervais' iconic words to the activists of Hollywood.
If you do win an award tonight, don't use it as a platform to make a political speech, right? You're in no position to lecture the public about anything. You know nothing about the real world. Most of you spent less time in school than Greta Thunberg.
These words perfectly describe many in the Hollywood ecosystem, and if anything, they describe Emma Watson better than most. Having become wealthy at a very early age and lived in a secluded, bizarro world ever since, she knows nothing of the real world, yet would presume to lecture those of us who do. She got a free pass for her young age for a great many years, but she's 35 now, and Rowling evidently felt that however sheltered Emma Watson has lived, however emotionally stunted and immature she may be because of it, she is now old enough to get lectured on reality. This started with Watson's incoherent doublespeak on a recent podcast appearance, which led to Rowling finally deciding enough's enough, finally posting a most erudite statement on Twitter, of which the highlights read, "I am not owed eternal agreement from any actor who once played a character I created. The idea is as ludicrous as me checking with the boss I had when I was 21 for what opinions I should hold these days." So, addressing right away that the cast have the right to speak their minds, in case anyone doubted that, before continuing. However, Emma and Daniel Radcliffe in particular have both made it clear over the last few years that they think our former professional association gives them a particular right, nay obligation, to critique me and my views in public. Years after they finished acting in Potter, they continue to assume the role of de facto spokespeople for the world I created. That obviously irked Rowling a great deal, but she then addressed why she hadn't spoken out before. When you've known people since they were 10 years old, it's hard to shake a certain protectiveness. Until quite recently, I hadn't managed to throw off the memory of children who needed to be gently coaxed through their dialogue in a big scary film studio. She then referenced a recent occasion where Emma had poured more gas on the flames, which put Rowling and her family at increased personal risk. And that's when she had enough and let loose. Like other people who've never experienced adult life uncushioned by wealth and fame, Emma Watson has so little experience of real life, she's ignorant of how ignorant she is. She'll never need a homeless shelter. She's never going to be placed on a mixed-sex public hospital ward. I'd be astounded if she's been in a high-street changing room since childhood. Her public bathroom is single occupancy and comes with a security man standing guard outside the door. After pointing out the flaws with Emma's chosen cause, she continued, "I wasn't a multi-millionaire at 14. I lived in poverty while writing the book that made Emma famous. I therefore understand from my own life experience what the trashing of women's rights in which Emma has so enthusiastically participated means to women and girls without her privileges." Rowling had more to say about why she decided to speak up now, but to me, this last sentence is perhaps the most poignant point, and something that reveals the problems with all Hollywood-type activists. All too often, these particular celebrity activists themselves won't suffer the consequences of their cause, as they're too rich to be affected by it. But they fully expect you, the pleb, to pay the price for and live with the consequences of their activism. How more cruel and insensitive, and possibly evil, can you be? This is why I generally have a strong dislike for Hollywood types engaging in the type of activism that Emma Watson does, and why I feel they so richly deserve being called out for it. Luckily, the proponents of the cause Emma Watson is championing no longer have the political weight behind them that they used to. Case in point, in social media, the overwhelming majority were supportive of Rowling, not Emma Watson. Now, there are of course some self-described allies out there who were horrified by what Rowling said, including one with a significant YouTube presence. Yet even Grace was roasted by her own audience for being out of touch on this one. As we've been saying for years, when the pendulum shifts, it does so hard and fast. And people like Emma Watson, who were so sure that they were on the right side of history, might suddenly come to learn that they really were the bad guys all along. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. And before you go, remember to stock up on cocoa flavanols from Black Forest Supplements. Buy one and get one for free for the next 48 hours. Link is in the description.